Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to log on and attend this morning's webinar. My name is Emily Cornelius. I am the Marketing and Communications Coordinator here at Vigorate. Just before I pass the webinar over to today's presenters, I just want to remind everyone that if at any time throughout the webinar you have any questions, please type them in using the GoToWebinar question box on the side of your screen, or you can tweet us at Vigorate Digital, and don't forget to hashtag #DemonstrateWebinar. So we'll begin answering questions at the end of the webinar. Any questions we don't get to today during the webinar, we will answer later on our Vigorate Digital LinkedIn page. So before we get into Facebook contests, I just wanted to briefly mention our next webinar in the Demonstrate series, which will take place on June 26th at 11 a.m. This webinar will be all about building a loyalty program, who should, who shouldn't, measuring success, and increasing ROI. We will be welcoming Pendulum Thinking's Scott Adams as the expert on the topic. For more information about this upcoming webinar, you can register for our Demonstrate webinar notifications on our website at vigorate.digital.com. So let's go ahead and meet our speakers for today. Today we are welcoming Duncan Sinclair and Michael Doe as our Facebook contest experts. Duncan has worked with Vigorate as the Director of Sales for 3 years now, and as the Director of Sales, Duncan has been the front line of communications with what our current clients and prospects are looking for when it comes to Facebook contests. Who is looking for them, why, how, and when. Michael has also worked with Vigorate for 3 years now. He is one of Vigorate's hardest working project managers, and as a project manager, he has seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of what Facebook contests can offer, and he's here to share some of that insight into his experiences. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Mike and Duncan.
All right, thanks Emily, and thanks everyone for joining us today on today's webinar. I'm just taking over the screen here, so give me 1 second. Perfect. All right, so today's topic is Facebook contests. So with over 1 billion people on Facebook, you can't really deny their presence. So this really provides a huge opportunity for companies to interact with their customers with a truly one-to-one communication where you can gather instant feedback and just engage with them directly. So who should look into a Facebook contest? So brands looking to help grow their fan base, so obviously who are already on Facebook, so growing their fan base, help build brand awareness, maybe promote a new product, gather feedback, or build brand advocates should definitely look to execute a Facebook contest. And why build your contest on Facebook? Really, the environment's already there. There's a huge engaged audience that already exists on Facebook. An interesting stat that we've pulled is 70% of respondents would rather hear about a new product from a Facebook friend than from a brand itself. Another interesting stat is Starbucks averages 19.4 million monthly visitors to their Facebook page. This is versus 1.8 million to the website. So it just goes to show that there is a vast majority of customers out there potentially for your brand that will want to engage with you on Facebook versus the actual corporate website. And just an interesting case study we wanted to share with you guys today. Men and Women's Health launched a fairly simple Facebook contest, America's Best Body Photo Upload, and it generated 150 million views and over 1 million votes. So again, just an interesting case study, hugely successful, simple, very relevant to their customer and audience. Now I'm just going to hand it over to Mike Doe.
Thanks, Duncan. So we just cover the opportunity that exists within Facebook and all the positives that can come from doing a Facebook contest. But it's also worth highlighting some of the risks involved as well. And admittedly, we experienced some of these ourselves doing some Facebook contests, so we thought it would be worthwhile to share with you. The real major risk involved here is that you have a little less control when doing a contest within Facebook. Facebook does encourage development. They offer APIs and software development kits or SDKs to interact with their platform. But as we all know, they're constantly making updates. They're making changes all the time, making improvements. But what that means for you is that if your contest or if your application doesn't match those changes, doesn't match those improvements, then in the worst case, your contest could go down. And Facebook has made it very clear that if your application or your contest does go down, they are not liable in any sense.
So who should not look into a Facebook contest? So, in our opinion, the B2B niche market isn't really a great fit for Facebook contests. Facebook isn't a great fit for everyone. In our experience, it's not a great investment or not a worthy investment for those B2B markets that have a very niche product or service, just to invest in a Facebook contest. Usually the ROI is just not there. 4 popular types of Facebook contests are simple essay type, share a story with us or tell us about the time. A picture upload, photo upload, I'm sure we're all familiar with. Video upload, so similar to photo upload, create a video and post it to Facebook. And then sweepstakes contest, so enter for a chance to win. Now, sweepstakes is a good starting point when it comes to Facebook contests. If you're going to try out your first one, it generally generates the most participation. Once you have this, a more simple contest like a sweeps under your belt, it would be good to try something a bit more layered. So kind of a walk before you run type scenario.
Something else to consider before starting a Facebook contest is really Facebook does have a fairly strict set of rules and regulations that they require any third-party developers to follow. An interesting one is that you can have users like your page to enter a contest, to view the contest itself, but a like does not equal a entry into the contest. So post-like, they may have to fill out a registration form, do some sort of call to action, but simply liking the page does not count as a true contest entry. If you would like more information on the other rules and regulations that Facebook does have, we do have a great white paper on our website, free to download. Simply visit vigoratedigital.com and you can get it there. So you're now at a point where you've decided that Facebook contest is the way to go. You understand the rules and regulations, but now you kind of, how does it really work? Right? What am I doing here? Really what a contest is within Facebook, and in most cases it will be an application or a contest that sits as a tab off the company page. Once that tab is clicked, a contest will appear within the Facebook environment, but how that is built is like any other independent site. It is hosted separately. The database is managed elsewhere outside of Facebook. You're simply iframing that contest into the Facebook environment. Facebook does have 2 sizes. You could present your contest in either 520 pixels or 810 pixels wide, and we do recommend considering those specs when doing or designing your contest.
Mobile is becoming more and more popular on Facebook, so users are accessing Facebook through their mobile devices on a very rapidly growing rate. In our experience, actually, the last handful of contests we've executed on Facebook where there's a mobile component, we're seeing approximately 50%, give or take, users actually engaging in that contest via their mobile device. So we feel it's a very important component to add to your Facebook contest. If you don't have a mobile component, it's a missed opportunity for you. People today are consuming online media through various devices, mobile tablets, PCs, so on and so forth. So really you want to provide the most accessibility to your contest because then it has the opportunity to be more successful. So something else to consider with mobile is just being consistent, right? So if you've invested in making your website mobile friendly or maybe responsive, your email marketing, you have a mobile newsletter or a responsive design newsletter, your microsites you put in market, Facebook should be as well, right? So an interesting stat here is 74% of consumers will abandon a site if it doesn't load within 5 seconds on their mobile device, and most of them won't actually come back to that experience. And prioritize, right? So we realize that, resources are a reality these days, and if you don't have all the money in the world to dump into making your website mobile, your Facebook applications mobile, maybe your email, prioritize based on what's most important to your company. As Mike Doe will talk about analytics, there are a lot of tools out there that you can leverage to see what people are accessing your content, whether it's mobile or PC, and then you can prioritize based on that.
Okay, so we've just highlighted the importance of being accessible through a mobile device. However, the issue that we have come across with some of our clients and it's highlighted in the image on your screen is that any tab where a contest would be located through or within a company page doesn't appear within the mobile platform for Facebook. So a workaround that we've created for a lot of our clients is simply by building a streamlined mobile site. So bigger buttons, less content so the page isn't as busy, and we would post that site as a URL within the company timeline. In order to mimic the desktop flow, you can leverage a bunch of social plugins that Facebook does provide. So for instance, the like button to force a user to like your page before continuing within a contest, the requirement to install the application to grab basic user permissions from their Facebook profile. As Duncan mentioned before, analytics always a key aspect to any online program. To really get a full scope of how your contest does within Facebook, you will want to use a combination of two things here. Facebook Insights being one, and some sort of other web stats service. So we've highlighted here Google Analytics because it does seem to be the most popular service that people are using. What Facebook Insights will provide you is the activity on the Facebook page that is generated by your contest. So the period in which your contest runs, how much activity is happening within your company page on Facebook. Some specific stats, you'll be able to see how many new likes versus unlikes you've received during that period, how much user engagement, so not only liking, but sharing, posting, commenting. Again, all activity within the Facebook page. Google Analytics, on the other hand, will provide you activity within the contest pages themselves. So what that is the content within the iframe of the Facebook environment. So the number of visitors to those pages, number of page views, the bounce rate. Those, that's what Google Analytics will provide, and together you'll be able to grasp or get a full scope of how your contest did.
So ROI is a little tricky to calculate for these Facebook contests. Because there's no real universal value to a like. So you can measure the number of likes, obviously, that a contest has driven. You can measure, using analytics tools, number of traffic from your Facebook page, or you can also draw how many newsletter signups has your Facebook contest generated. So based on these, I guess, metrics that you can gather from Facebook contests, then if you know the value of like a web visitor or the value of a newsletter subscriber to your brand, then you can do some simple math to calculate the value of a new user generated from a Facebook contest or from your Facebook page traffic-wise. So then you can calculate ROI based on the dollars invested and the value that that traffic essentially is generating to your brand. Finding success. So, ensure the prize is really relevant to your brand. Also, you want the reward to reflect the amount of effort that's involved for the user. So, it's not a great thing to have your user jump through hoops and have a very, just nominal prize to be won in the end. But even a simple contest should have a strong reward, or else people won't engage with it. So that's, reward is always an important driver. Incentive always drives behavior. And promote it. A wise man once told me, you can throw the best party on earth, and if you don't send the invites, if you don't send the invitations, no one's going to show up. So ensure you have money set aside or a strategy put in place to drive traffic to that contest that you spent all your money on. So leverage Facebook ads, your Twitter followers. If you have a permission-based email list, definitely deploy to them. PR, whatever it may be, ensure that people are aware that you actually have this great contest that they can enter. The contest itself, make sure, simple is always best. Even a layered promotion can be simple, so make it easy for the user to enter. And then going forward, you've spent time, you've invested your resources in creating this fan base, and you want to keep them engaged, right? So as quickly as a user likes your page, they can unlike your page. So make sure that you're either providing valuable content or, maybe you're giving them offers, to your products or services. So add value to them being your fan. And take learnings from previous contests, apply them, and set benchmarks for yourself, and break those benchmarks moving forward. So I think at this point, we're going to do some questions and answers.
All right, perfect. Thanks so much, guys. That was great. So we did actually have a couple questions come in, and I'll just mention again that any questions we don't get to now, we will be answering later on our LinkedIn page, on the Vigorate Digital LinkedIn page. Okay, so the first question. If my organization is just in the beginning phases of a Facebook contest, what are some realistic or attainable goals we should be setting?
Okay, I can handle that one, I guess. We kind of spoke to it earlier on in the presentation. Really some typical goals to look at is growing your fan base. So, the initial fan base, like, so you'll be starting out with 0 if it's your first one, or maybe you have a small community already. Growing that fan base, engaging the fans that you currently have, or engaging your customers that may not already be a fan. Generating awareness. Maybe you have a new product launch or a new service offering that you would like to promote through the Facebook contest, so that's something you could do. Gather feedback or build brand advocates.
Okay, perfect. The next question we had come in, how do we know if we have the internal resources to build and maintain a Facebook contest, and or when should an organization look to outsource this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Michael here, and I can take on that one. Really, what you're looking for is, we did talk about previously how it is you're truly building a contest that is really independent of Facebook. You're building that microsite, so you want all the resources necessary to do that. So it's a front-end developer who can make it look pretty. It's a back-end developer who can build the contest logic, a designer to create the creative or the design of the contest. If prizing is involved, which there usually is the case for a contest, you'll want the necessary resources to do the fulfillment. But in addition to all that, you are adding the layer of Facebook. So having somebody who really understands the Facebook game, right? Who is constantly monitoring the blogs, the development blogs, understanding the updates. And on top of that, somebody to manage your community. Anybody who posts comments or concerns or questions on your Facebook page, could be because of the contest, could be for other reasons. You want somebody to monitor that and be able to respond fairly quickly.
Okay, perfect. And then the last question we'll ask right now, what is an appropriate length of time for a Facebook contest to run? Does length of the contest affect the level of success?
Yeah, it's another great question. There's no real, I guess, golden rule around the length of a Facebook contest. I would say our typical experience is 4 to 8 weeks would be the norm for a length of a Facebook contest. However, we have run contests that last, upwards of 6 months. So something to consider as the Facebook contest, I guess the timeline grows and it becomes longer over periods of months. You have to consider engagement. So typically when you launch a contest, whether it's on Facebook or even outside of Facebook, usually the initial launch of that contest, there's a spike in traffic, engagement, and participation essentially, and then it drops off. So if you are going to run a contest over a longer period of time, you'll want to create a strategy around communication and maybe spend some media dollars or leverage, again, your opt-in email list or maybe your Twitter followers, et cetera, and build that into the communication plan of that contest. So, but again, I'd say the typical length of time would be 4 to 8 weeks.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so again, any questions we didn't get to today, we will be answering on our LinkedIn page, the Vigorate Digital LinkedIn page this afternoon, so you can go ahead and check there. So thank you, everyone, for attending today's webinar. Don't forget our next webinar in the series will take place on June 26th, and it's going to be all about loyalty programs. So for more information about this upcoming webinar, you can register for our Demonstrate webinar notifications on our website at www.vigoratedigital.com. Thanks again, and have a great day.